Hi, seventh grade. This is Miss Reed, and you are going to be participating in the Stacked Deck Problem Gambling class. This is something I'm going to try to get in 20-minute increments, but I cannot promise. We will see what happens. On the first slide, you see I'm asking you to get out a piece of notebook paper and take notes. It will help you at the end when you do a post assessment. I've also put something there each day. It'll give you the questions for the day that you will answer at the end in a Google form. So you can pull that out, and as you hear an answer, you can go ahead and write the answer down so that you can make an easy 100 on these assignments. I'll share these grades with Mr. Davenport, and he will put them into your social studies class. So you can go back, you can watch what you need to watch, and work on this each day for 20 minutes. This will probably be about 4 or 5 lessons, and I hope that you will learn something about problem gambling. The first thing was the pretest. You did this for me yesterday, and that is 100. If you had screenshotted your submission screen for the pretest, that's an automatic 100. So make sure that if you've not done that, you do that right now before you go on with this video. You need to do the pretest before you take the first quiz. This is lesson 1. And this is about gambling and the history of gambling and the house edge, which I will explain to you in just a little bit. First thing that we want to ask you to realize is that gambling does not have to be for money. It can be for anything of material value. You've heard of people, betting their car or betting a home. It can be anything. Make sure that you understand that. And it can be totally unpredictable events. We'll go back just a minute to that screen. And it can be about predictable or unpredictable events. By predictable, I mean something like sports. If you bet on a football game, you may know that one team has a better chance of winning than the other team, and that may be the team that you decide to bet on. So that can be a little more predictable. All right, so the definition for gambling is risking money or something of material value, like we just discussed, on something with an uncertain outcome in hopes of winning money or winning something of material value. So you're risking something, hoping to gain something. So when you do gamble, remember, there's always a risk. We're not with this program trying to tell you not to gamble, but we're trying to show you a way to do it so that you don't end up with a problem with gambling as you get older. And we start by learning that gambling has been around for thousands of years, and it's found all over the world. And I thought it was very interesting that even in ancient Greece, the Greeks threw these stones called astrology, or the astrology people. They were the forerunners, and they had modern dice, and they were shaped like small bones. And you can see a picture of this on the screen, that were found in the hind leg of goats, sheep, and deer. So you can see in the picture, the dice thrown are from the back of the hand rather than their palm or their front. And after rolling the hand, they would land on one of its 4 sides. And each side was worth a different amount of points. If you threw a 4, it was called the dog, the best of all throws. And to have all 4 astrology land with different sides up was called the Venus. So the astrology found in archaeological excavations, they typically have their sides numbered and they're engraved. And you can kind of see those bones there. Pretty interesting way that we had gambling back with the ancient Greeks. The ancient Egyptians, as you see on the screen now, they crafted these 20-side clay dice, and they became the world's most common means of generating random outcomes. Ceramic dice have been around in Egyptian tombs that were built before 2000 BC. And by the time the Greek civilizations were all in bloom, dice were everywhere. Loaded dice from ancient times have also been found in rubble. The ancient Romans wagered a lot of money on chariot races and gladiator duels. And in Europe today, casino resorts like the Tier began as Roman gambling centers, and entry to those games, that was free. You could see the game as a Roman citizen. It was a right to see it, not a privilege. Often there wasn't room for everyone, so people were waiting in line overnight, and chariot races had large amounts of betting. The driver that was the best, like in today's sports, was the star, and the public adored them. Lots of interesting things happened during these contests. They watched men fight each other to the death. And this seems mean and horrifying to most people today, but in ancient times, they were very, very important games. And the gladiators fought. They were symbolic in nature. They had a certain magic for the Roman society. And just like modern day sporting events, there was more to gladiator combat than the event itself. The competitors had like personal drama on the side, and they had their technical skill and determination, and that was part of the excitement of the games. But the important thing to remember is that those people that you see up in the stands watching were betting on who would win. China used lotteries way back to finance the Great Wall, and that helped them to be able to build that. And the Aztecs gambled on a game called Patoli, and it's an ancient Aztec board game, and it takes its name from the Aztec word for bean. And it was played on a cross-shaped board, like you can see there in the picture, with red and blue markers and beans for dice, 5 beans or sometimes 4. And from 1300 to 1500 CE, it was played all over the Aztec world, and all the people they conquered played it. The ancient Mayans also played a version of Patoli, and it's reported that they enjoyed watching nobles play this game on the court. Gambling history is also traced through other Native American traditions from times long before the arrival of the Europeans. And you can see this group playing a traditional hand game. And so you know that this has been around for a long, long time. So now that we get on to modern gambling, there's different types of gambling, and it comes from older forms of gambling, but it's important in 2 ways. The first, the type of games played today is different than it was. In Western culture today, the most popular games are going to be listed here in just a second, and they're listed in order of popularity. So your most popular game right now is lotteries, like the Powerball and the Mega Millions. Those are things you see on TV almost nightly, who has won the Mega Millions or the Powerball. That is our most popular form of gambling today. In Powerball, you pay about $1, and you choose 5 numbers. They're between 1 and 55, and then plus 1 number that's between 1 and 42. That's for the Powerball. In the Mega Millions, you pay $1, and you choose 5 numbers between 1 and 56, and then you choose another number between 1 and 46. But in the Lotto 649, which is in Canada, they pay $1, and they choose 6 numbers between 1 and 49. So you don't have a great chance of winning, but that is our most popular type of gambling. The next most popular is instant win tickets, like scratch-off games. They cost $1 to $20 to play, and you can win between $10,000 and $1 million. So this is something that really appeals to a lot of people. They're excited to see if they can win. The third most popular is electronic gambling machines, and we do have some places like this in Murphy. They gamble for the biggest money maker, and depending on the country, these are known as slots or video lottery terminals, pokies, fruit machines. We call them electronic gambling machines, or EGMs. And another popular form is private bets on games. You can see just in the picture here, people betting on pool or cards or video games. If teens are gambling, this is the most frequent way they're gambling, is betting with each other on who will win this game. Then we have sports betting, which that's a little bit different than the others. It's a knowledgeable sport betting. If you think about it, you kind of have knowledge of which team is going to do better than the other. And so this is kind of something that we can bet on with a little bit more accuracy. And another form is bingo. As the numbers are called, the players mark the numbers on their card, and the object's to be the first to fill in a column, a row, or a diagonal line through the center of the card. You've played bingo as a kid, but you know people gather in bingo halls and play for money. And then we have the casino table games, like over at the casino. And some examples there are roulette and blackjack and poker and craps. Those are some of the games that you can see. We do not have those types of card games in our casino yet. Then we've got horse racing and dog racing, and that is legal in the United States, but you cannot do dog racing in Canada. And people do bet on the horses and the dog racing. The games have changed, but it's even more important. The difference is that modern gambling is kind of a commercial enterprise now. Today, most bets are between individuals rather than being made against the house. For example, the house means like a casino or a racetrack or a bingo hall. The house is a business, and it's in the business to make money. So the biggest change is that the house calculates a mathematical advantage for itself, and it goes into business providing games that it knows the house will win over the long term. That's called the house edge or the house advantage. So long ago, most gambling had religious and ceremonial functions. And then later, it became a recreational activity. People did it for fun. But most recently, it's become a business. And those businesses, like a casino, it's in the business to win. So you know they're going to fix the odds in their favor. So you may win here and there, but in the end, you're going to lose more than you ever come out with. So this is how the house edge works. Mathematical constructs like probability and the law of averages, which I think you've learned about with Mr. Gaddy, are used by people who design casino games and other forms of gambling. The exact odds of winning depend on which game you choose to play. So casinos, bingo halls, racetracks, all those, they are in the business to make money. And these businesses make money by making sure you don't have a 50% or a fair chance of winning. Every time you play against the house, this is one of your questions, your chance of winning is only about 25 to 49%. So less than half. They have the advantage. And so what the house edge means is that you are going to lose in the end. The house will make more money. That's U.S. citizens lost $107 billion to the gambling industry in 2017. Canadians lost $13 billion in 2016. Yes, those numbers are old, but this was the material we were given. I'm sure it's even greater numbers now. So Las Vegas is built from gambling losses. And what that means is that the losses, that when you walk away with a loss, they've made money. And this is how they've built that entire town. So the worst type of gambling is the one with the worst odds of winning. And so you have the worst odds of winning when you're in one of these casinos. So let's look at the law of averages. So a coin has two sides, heads and tails. So there's two possible outcomes to a toss. With a fair coin, each side will have an equal chance of facing up after a single toss. It's equal. Mathematically, this means that a coin will land on each side half or 50% of the time. And the odds of either side being the outcome is 1 in 2. So what happens if you get the same outcome, either heads or tails, the first few times? In reality, you could get all heads or all tails the first few times you toss a coin. So if you toss a coin only 4 times and the outcome is heads all 4 times, you might believe that heads has a 100% chance of being your lucky outcome. The reason that belief would be incorrect is you have a very small sample size, only 4 tosses. If you continue tossing that coin 100 times, the actual percentage of heads would be much closer to 50%. If you could average all the coin tosses in the world, then you would have a huge sample showing that fair coins land on heads 50% of the time and tails 50% of the time. With a larger sample size, your average outcome will be closer to the true odds of the game. And this is talking about how much money the average person will lose after betting $1 1,000 times. So if you look at it, it depends on the game the person chooses to play as to their chances of winning. But if you look at it and they're talking about they've spent $1 1,000 times. So look at the average loss. On lotteries, if you spend $1,000, you end up losing 490. So you may make some money, but on average, you'll lose $490. And if you keep looking through there, it shows you how much you would lose based on spending $1,000. So take a minute to look at that and realize never are you without losing something. There are games that you lose less, but you're going to lose. The house edge is sad, but there's some rare exceptions that can sometimes beat the odds. And those are like skilled poker players who play against each other, or a small percentage of sports handicappers or blackjack card counters. But 99% of the people, these exceptions do not apply. When you're betting against the house, no type of gambling that allows you to make money in the long run is going to happen. Now, I think that's one of your answers too in your questions. If you're betting against the house, there is no type of gambling that's going to let you win in the long run. Your only choice is how fast you want to lose your money. If you want to lose it more quickly, play lotteries, bingo, slot machines. If you want to lose it a little slower, like we saw in this slide, I'll flip back to it, play blackjack or roulette. Going back to the slide, look and you see lotteries, you lose it faster. As you go down towards blackjack and roulette, you will lose it a little slower. The house edge and the beginner's luck, this is important, and this is also in your questions. Your best chance of winning is the first time you play. The more times you play, the more likely it is you'll lose money, and that's because of the law of averages. Remember, the law of averages tells us that with a larger sample size, your average outcome will be closer to the true odds of the game. Lucky beginners who win a game of chance on their first try might believe they're going to win 100% of the time because so far they have. This one experience could be both very exciting and it can be misleading because one game is a tiny sample. It might make them want to play more, but the more times they play, the more money they're going to start losing. And this is just showing you with roulette and the law of averages and how the more you play, the more likely you are to let the house win and you won't have as much of a profit. You can see how it drops down. With gambling, you will not win in the long run. And this is just to remind you of that. We're going to show you next, I'm going to show you this dice game that I'm going to play with some of the teachers here at school. And it's not showing up right on your screen here, as you can see where my mouse is, but this is where each teacher put down in this column what they thought they would roll. I was rolling a dice and they had to put down 1 to 6. What do you think the dice will turn out to be? Then we wrote down our result. Every time they play, they had to pay $1. And if they win, then the house, which would be me, would pay them $3. And so you're going to see how that works, okay? So there's going to be, I've asked them when they won to scream, yay! And you'll notice there's not a lot of sounds of winning. If you were here with me and not at home right now, we would play this game in class and everybody would be playing and we'd have a lot of people winning, but we would find out that the house would still win. We played it with just a few teachers, and here's the video. Okay, today we're going to play a dice game, and you will pick, well, the teachers here will have $1 for every time they play, and if they win when I roll the dice, they will get $3, and then we will add it up to see how much total each person won. So they've already made their guesses, and if you want to come over, Mr. Payne, thanks for videoing, and look at Ms. Palmer's guesses. She has listed 10 guesses for what she thinks will happen when I roll the die. And what she'll do, if you can see this board here, it's the same as her card. She'll write down the results. If she won, she'll put down $3 here. If she doesn't win, she gets nothing, but she has paid $1. So right now, Ms. Palmer has spent $10. Hopefully she'll win enough to get some back, but we will see. All right. Okay. All right. Are you ready, ladies? Yeah. Okay. All your guesses there because you can't change them. Yeah, okay. All right. Roll number 1 is a 4. If you got that correct, give yourself $3. Roll number 2 is 2. If you win, say yay. No wins yet. Okay. Roll number 3 is a 4. Roll number 4 is a 3. Anybody win? No wins yet. Remember, if you win, just scream out a big yay. Next one, number 5 is 6. Did anybody win? Okay. Roll 7 is another 6. Anybody? Okay. Roll number 8, we have a 4.
Wait, are we on 7?
We're on 7.
Sorry,
Okay.
7. I messed up. Roll number 7 is a 4. Anybody?
That's not 8, that's 4.
Oh. Okay, let's see if we can get a 4 for Miss Raxter. Miss Raxter got a 4. Woo! All right. Roll number 9 is, what is that one?
2.
A 2. And our last roll is also a 2.
Yay!
Woo! 2 winners. Okay, ladies.
All amount $10.
All right, so you lost $10. All right, Miss Palmer's out $10. Over here, these ladies are going to take how much they've earned and subtract it from how much they spent to see if they came out on top. Did you make money, Miss Raxter?
I got $2.
So you've got $2 profit.
Is that
You
right?
spent 10 and you made 6, right? Or did you?
Yes.
Okay, so you still
Wait.
lost.
I got 2 of them right.
You got 2 right, so you made $6.
Okay, I mean-
So you still lost how much money, Miss Raxter? $4. Okay, so you did win some, but you're
Yeah.
still $4 in the hole. What about you, Dr. K?
I lost $7.
So you won once.
I won once.
Did it feel good to win?
Oh, yeah.
It felt so good to win. But, we are still out. Okay, so what I want you to know about this is that in casino games, even though you heard some screaming and some excitement, those were sounds of winning, but the casino's the one that's really celebrating. There's no sound for losing, just for winning. You need to be able to scrutinize a game mathematically to determine whether the playback will be fair. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that video. It would be a lot more fun if you'd all been here to do it because you would see lots of excitement. And we might have one kid, maybe 2 kids who might win, but in the end, we all did end up spending a lot more money than we gained. This next slide is talking about lotteries and how they're most popular because the chances of winning are extremely low, but they're still popular because we get this false sense of control because we get to pick the numbers that we choose. So it is very popular because we feel like, oh, we've got the control, we could win, but your chances are very, very low. The odds of winning the lottery, this is pretty interesting. Odds of being killed in a car crash this year is 1 in 8,000. The odds of being murdered this year is 1 in 18,000 in the United States. The odds of being hit by lightning is 1 in 400,000. The odds of dying from flesh-eating disease is 1 in a million. The odds of winning the Lotto 649 is 1 in 14 million. And the odds of winning Powerball is 1 in 146 million. So you have a lot better chance of all these other awful things happening to you than you do this one good thing of winning the lottery. 146 million to 1. So put it in perspective. If it takes 10 seconds to fill out a lottery ticket and you spent 12 hours a day filling out tickets every day of the year, it would take you 47 years and $73 million to give you a 50% chance of winning the Powerball. If you bought a lottery ticket every day of the year, it would take you 200,000 years to have a 50% chance of winning. In a 1 in 146 million chance, if you try to guess a random citizen's address in the United States, it'll cost you $1 for every guess, and you must identify their correct state, city, street, and house number. These odds aren't great. So the Powerball lottery is like paying $1 for a chance to guess which blade of grass in this football field on this picture is my favorite blade of grass. And you can pay another $1 for another guess. But the next time, I might change my favorite, and then you won't know which one it was. So your chances are so slim. So we're going to show you another game here in just a minute that we also played with these ladies who were willing to help me. And so each student is going to get a piece of candy, which is like their money, and you'll see the teachers with their candy. And they choose a number from 1 to 100, and they write it on the ticket and put it on the lottery board. And then I pick a ticket randomly, and if they win, they get all the candy, the candy the other ladies have bet. Now, this, of course, would be a lot more fun also if you were here, but we did it just to show you how this works. So here's our video.
Hi guys, we're going to talk about how the house will usually win. Sometimes we will, but most of the time the house will. We're going to demonstrate that for you. So these ladies have made some bets. They are going to see which number they think will be picked on this board. And each time they participate, they have to pay one piece of candy to play. If someone wins, they get the whole entire pot of candy, which will be 3 pieces. All right, ladies, if you'll put your first bet down. What is your first bet? Lay it down and give me 1 piece of candy because I'm in the house and I take your money or your candy that you bet. Okay, Miss Palmer, you bet what? 9. What's yours, Miss Raxter?
13.
And what about you, Dr. K?
18.
18. The number I have picked is 82. So I, the house, get all the candy. No winners yet. We're going to do it 2 more times. Let's see if they'll win. Place your bets, ladies. Miss Raxter's paying her candy. Thank you, Miss Palmer, Dr. K. You can see their bets here. We've got 31, 42, and 19. And the winner is 73. I get the candy again. All right, last chance, ladies. Bet it well. Give me your candy. Place your bets. We've got a 55. What's yours say, Dr. K?
22.
22 and a 9. All right. The winner is 44. So, as you all know who know me, I love candy. And I'm so excited that I'm the house because no matter what, the house always wins.
Okay, I hope you learned something from that. This is your take-home page, which you are not here to take home, but I have copied for you on this slide deck, and it gives you some summary of what we have learned. I also put a copy of this in the Google Classroom so you can pull it up and look at it individually. Some of the key points are here in the summary slide, which is also in your notes page, that gambling has been around for thousands of years. Modern gambling differs from older forms of gambling because the games have changed, and most gambling today is like a commercial business, and the house is in the business to make money. And the house makes money by keeping a mathematical advantage in all the games. It's going to make the advantage to its own goal. And then when betting against the house, it's possible to win once in a while, but it's impossible to make a profit over the long run. And so now you're at the end of lesson 1. What you need to do is make sure you've answered all the questions on the sheet that I gave you with the 6 questions. Once you know the answers, go ahead and go to the Google form and complete that. Hopefully you'll make 100, and that will be your grade for today. So you've got one more thing to do. Fill out that Google form with your answers to the questions, and I'm going to actually go and show you just a second. If you look at today's date, you've got the Stack Deck lesson notes. You've got the take-home page that I just showed you. These are your quiz questions to help you practice, and you click right here when you're ready to take the quiz. All right, guys, have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.